Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday, the 10th of May. Sorry about yesterday, guys. I got up a little after 2. I didn't feel good. Slept for about an hour in my chair, and I said, screw this, and I went and hopped in bed. Still trying to get my voice back. There's a lot of different bugs that are going around. But so today I thought, since it is the weekend, I kind of go off the rail. I got to give a little bit of business with the off the deep end. So stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, this is the weekend. Normally, the weekday is Monday through Friday. We do business and so forth. But on the weekends, we go off the rail. But considering that I didn't do a video yesterday from being sick, I thought we'd try to do a crossover of a little bit of both, right? So the shop has been staying pretty busy. We've had some different ones, and the hardest thing I'm finding out right now is parts. I don't know about you guys, but like eBay and Amazon, it used to be 2-3 days, and now it's 2 to 3 weeks. And now with the latest Chinese tariffs, if it's not sitting at a port in a warehouse, then you're probably not going to get it. And if you do get it, it's going to be a stupid number, all right, for the time being. So keep that in mind. And if you can, stock up on some of the things for the time being. But it's hard because when you go to order a part from a Chinese seller, they'll say that that part fits a gazillion different models when it doesn't, right? So now instead of spending a few days sending it back and forth trying to get the right one, now you're talking weeks. And in the meantime, your customer is getting more pissed. What have I done to combat that? I've gone back to my aftermarket, my OEM suppliers. They're sitting on a ton of it. And I can have it here in 2 days. And the customer is out the door. Does it cost more money in the end? Yes. Do I pass on the expense to them? To a certain extent. A lot of times we're hardly making squat off from the parts. We're getting the labor out of it. So plus we're churning and burning, as they call it. So hopefully you guys are doing the same thing in your shop. The key is getting stuff in and out as quickly as possible. That's where it brings the money into the shop. Not sitting there looking at it and saying, look how much business we have. It's how much you're getting out the door on a daily basis. And I like to pride our shop on getting stuff in and out quickly. It's a good reputation to have. And it gets around. These guys do. But you don't want to churn and burn so quickly that you forget to check off every little checkbox when it comes in. What do the belts look like? What do the blades look like? Blow off the deck, grease the fittings on it, and so forth. Don't just change the oil quick and throw a new oil filter on, say you're done with the service, and kick it out, and then bill the customer. That's not a service. It's not. If you're not checking that from front to back, and a lot of times they come in, they need to be pressure washed. If you don't have a pressure washer, even in $50 cheapies, you need to get one. You need to always give your customer more than what they expect, or at least try to. Some customers, no matter how much you do, they could care less, but most will appreciate it. But yeah, when it comes to the shop, that's what you want to do. You want to get stuff in and out, but you want to do an exceptional job on each piece of equipment in itself, because that's got your stamp on it. That's got your name on it when it leaves the shop. And anything that happens, especially if it's in the short term, it's on us shop owners that we didn't catch it. And we're not expected to catch everything. But if it's a common part failure, then probably, that if a tower goes to hell on a deck, the first time they go to mow with it, who are they going to look at? See, we even get right down to, because we pull the decks off and we check each spindle, and we even check to hear if there's any growl in them and whether the grease will take the growl away. Now, that's not going to help you if a customer hits something in the ground and snaps a spindle or burns a belt. That's on them, and they know it's on them. And they will pay what you are charging them because they know they did it. There are some customers that will swear up and down they didn't hit anything, but when you see the bent blade, you know that they hit something. But if you encounter a customer like that was trying to get you to eat their mistake, that's one of those customers you need to weed out. You need to kind of come to the term of, sorry, we're just too busy. And I'm doing that right now with one of our customers that's off and gone. That the minute they mentioned that they were going to go after the last shop and small claims court and this and that, kind of gives you the heads up of it's going to be one of those PETA customers, pain in the ass customers that no matter what you do and say, they're not going to be happy. And they're also going to be the loudest ones when it comes time for their bill. You don't need them. Get rid of them. The other shops have refused to work on their stuff, and now they're on your doorstep. Do the same. If you want to try them out once and see how your name can get slandered out there, go ahead. But if you do like I tell you, and that is become friends with other shops, that way they kind of give you news and you can give them news back and forth. They will give you the heads up on that customer and say, Eric, stay away from them. They're not good news, and they're just you're gonna do your best job, and they're not gonna be happy. And that saves a lot of heartache, right? And you can also, if you're helping out those shops, it's got to be a two-way street. It can't be all coming one direction. That's not a partnership. You have to give back somewhere. And it may be just parts that you have in stock that they don't and they need, and running it over to them quick, or having them run over to your shop and getting it and just replacing it or giving it to them at wholesale price. I've done that for years because I used to carry the biggest inventory. And a lot of these guys, to get their stuff in and out, would give me a call and say, Eric, do you have the carb kit? Do you have this? Do you have that? And 95 to 98% of the time, I was saying, yes, I have it right here. And I'll give it to you at my cost, which is cheaper than what their cost would have been because we were buying so much, Just send one of your mechanics over or send somebody over and I'll have it all ready for them. That's working with other shops. And in turn, certain customers, they would say, Eric, stay clear of them. And if they said that, I did. Honest to God, I did. I took it their word because I knew their word was their word and they weren't trying to BS me. So now I thought we'd switch over to the personal side of things. Just want to let you know I got my new Apple knockoff watch. My daughter has one of the Apple watches. She can get phone calls and things. This one does the same thing. Except for this one was $12 on Temu. But I wanted to know how many steps I was taking in a day for exercise and stuff like that. And what I found is that I average right around 2,750 steps a day which tells me I'm just kind of aimlessly walking around getting nowhere. The other thing is that it tells me how many calories I burn. And on average, it's 34 calories, which amounts to roughly about one Hershey's Kiss. The only problem is I've eaten 8 Hershey's Kisses and a couple Thin Mints. The good thing is that I counteracted them with a handful of grapes. But yeah, I'm still going to cardiac rehab. I kind of hinted that I'm ready to go off and on to better pastures. But I've been having some sharp pains in the left side and also heart palpitations. But WebMD says it's perfectly natural and normal for someone that's had open heart surgery to have that even months out. That it's just the heart saying that I'm still healing and I'm trying to do better. So hopefully they'll release me here pretty quick. I think I'm on like 20 visits. I can go up to 36. But you're supposed to do this when you first get released from the hospital, right? And then you put in like 2 to 3 days per week. So within like 10 weeks, you're done. With me, it was almost a month after I was out, and it's once a week. So, it's still beneficial. I'm still getting something back from it. The only thing I'm not getting back from it is it costs me right around $50 every time I go for my copay, and then the fuel, plus I'm my driver, Claude, driving Miss Daisy back and forth to the appointments, an hour and 20 minutes away. Thank goodness he's a truck driver, because I wouldn't be driving that distance on a regular basis. But he enjoys it. Things have been going good at the shop. It is what it is. We're staying above the fray. We're waiting for parts on a lot of stuff. We got everything tore down. But the thing is, it's been pretty good, is as things start to slow down, we get caught up, a bunch more work comes in. So I'm giving him credit to keep us going, because it's odd of how that happens. We start worrying about that we're going to be without work, and next thing you know, a bunch more comes in. And we've also had stuff that we've had to turn away. And what do we got to turn away? We got a chop saw in. I mentioned to you guys the other day that the farther we got into it, the more expensive it was going to be to fix. And I finally made the call, put it back together, set it down on the floor with his new carburetor, and just tell him it's a parts machine. Honest to God, it's a parts machine. Can we get this running and doing what it's supposed to? Yes. But the main frame of the body that holds the chop saw on, 3 of the 4 bolts were sheared off, and they were still in the case in the housing. Just the time it would take to tap those and bring those out, you're talking a couple hundred, unless you guys have a different way of doing things. But these are way down inside the case, so it's stripping it down completely is what ends up happening, so that you can get at those. And the guy said at least 5-6 times, Eric, I don't want to put a lot of money into it. Eric, I don't want to, because, a lot of my customers will say that, but this guy said it more enough that I know he doesn't want to put over $50-$60 into it. So he's going to get a $45 diagnostic fee that says just ahead of that you could sell to somebody else that has a chop saw that their head has gone to hell. You can get $600 out of that head in the shape that it's in with the concrete blade on it. Sell the parts off it on eBay. I wouldn't give him a nickel for it. But he's in that business where he's got another chop saw just like this one that he could use for parts. So, it has value, right? What else are we seeing? And that's the other thing. is I don't know who's out there saying it, but we're not out of business. I don't know how many customers have asked this year, are you guys still in business? Because we heard that, you had a massive heart attack, Eric, and that you guys were toting it back to selling the shop. And no, we're still in business. We're still doing what we normally do. And the more work we can get, the merrier. And I have to keep saying that on Facebook, to my group, where a lot of my customers are, is yes, we are very much so still doing small engine repair and farm tractor repair. And we're probably the most reasonable and honest shop that's out there. Because it is what it is. I don't pad bills. I don't play games with customers. I want my customers to be friends. An example was yesterday. We had a guy day before yesterday call and leave a message on the phone. He said that he got the lawnmower stuck in the ditch and he couldn't get it to start. All right. Could we take care of it? Because he had to go and have a sleep study done because he'd had a stroke a few years back. And yeah, that's fine. So we get over there and Claude gets it started, but it's got a front tire, left side is flat, and he can't make the ditch. There's no way coming out of it. So finally, Claude repositions the trailer because we have a winch on the trailer, and we winch it up onto the trailer. Well, once it gets so far, your trailer is down in the ditch, so the deck won't come over. So Claude hopped in the truck, pulled the truck ahead to get it on level ground, meanwhile dragging the lawnmower down the road. And we were able to get it the rest of the way onto the trailer. We get it back to the shop, and we're trying to figure out, okay, so what's the running issue? We blow the tire up on the passenger side, front left side. And we take a look at the plug, and the plug, you can see water droplets on the plug. So we took the plug out and cranked it over, and you could see water splatter in the hood. So we pulled the hose off from the carburetor, and it was pure water that came out of that tank. And then the last little bit was gas, but pure water. I don't know how he even got his yard mowed. So we not only did that, but we drained the carburetor too. We took out the electric shutoff on the bottom, let that drain out, replaced the fuel filter because that had a bunch of dirt in it. I don't know who did the service on it last year, but whoever did put an OEM Briggs filter. I don't have those in stock, so I know it's not us. We carry the aftermarket. I'm not willing to give Briggs what they want for their filter when I can get perfectly good aftermarket for half the cost. And my customers appreciate that. But he said, could you guys do a service while it's there? I mean, whoever put the oil filter on had to have been like Hercules, because my oil filter wrench actually crushed the filter with trying to get that off. That's how tight it was on. For you guys that are doing it for yourself, you get it hand tight and then just give it a little bit more. If you over tighten it, you're defeating the purpose of having the rubber there to start with. You don't want it too loose, but you don't want it too tight either, because both will leak. So we were able to get the oil filter changed, fuel filter changed, drained all the gas, drained the carburetor, new plug, fired right up. So we went and we dropped it off yesterday and left the bill right with it. And we called him first, but we left the bill right on the mower. And he come over yesterday afternoon when I was just getting ready to give the cows grain with the check, because he wanted to make sure I got paid. Those are good customers. And so we talked more about his sleep study and the brain waves and stuff like that with his stroke. And he hadn't heard that I had a quadruple bypass, and he'd had a heart surgery in the past. So I guess we're a band of brothers that have gone through and survived open heart surgery. But he gives me the check, and then before he leaves, he gives me a 20, and I'm like, what's the 20 for? He said, it's a tip because you always take good care of me. I said, the bill is more than enough. No, I want you to take this 20 as a tip to let you know that I do appreciate you. That's the customers that you want. You know, I knew better than to fight him on trying to get him to take that 20 back. You know, I guess you can't even buy McDonald's, I guess, for $20 anymore, but it's the thought, you know, if you got customers like that appreciate you, that's the customer base that you want. I'm going to start wrapping this up. But you also want to have great customers that appreciate the work that you do. And that comes in time. You know, I talked to you guys about how when you're first starting out, you kind of take on anybody, right? But eventually you're going to get down to the point of weeding out the bad ones, keeping the good ones. And the key is having enough good ones to keep you busy. So on that note, you guys have a great Saturday, and you may see me here again tomorrow morning for the Sunday sermon. No promises.